I appreciate that joke.
I'm doing it live.
Hey everybody! Anybody? This is totally impromptu. We just ended the Wicked show, and we're all just hanging out, telling our own stories of Wicked. And I looked at everybody here on the Zoom, and I said, should we be doing this live for like everybody to see and enjoy? And they were like, performers asking us if we want to go live. I think it was Dylan who said, "You're asking performers if they just want to be live and talk on." So we're talking about Wicked and our experiences with it and what it meant to us. And I believe we were on Miss Dani Kerry had a story that she was going to tell. Ladies and gentlemen, Dani Kerry St. Germain joining
Whoa,
us. Baby
everybody.
Town. Thank you.
Yeah, well, here, I'll take you.
Your
I'll
performance
take you
tonight.
over to see him real quick.
Oh, the baby.
Are we gonna see the baby?
He's sleeping.
Cute. Anybody else getting that thing where it's so cute you want to eat them? Anybody else get
Yeah. I think so.
That's
Chew him up.
everything.
Yes, he's big boy. He is in 3-month close. He's going to be 2 months at the end of next week, on the 8th. But he's already like definitely no newborn clothes for like 4 weeks already. And he's in 3-month clothes, and sometimes he wears 3 to 6 month clothes. So yeah, he's doing good, and he's not sleeping, so neither am I. And yeah, it's good times. So this week, my recording, Paul asked me to do the song, and I was like, yes, I know that song. And I can, like, I don't have to do all I have to do is put makeup on. So literally, I think if you listen closely enough, you can hear him crying in the recording. Because I did it, literally, I sang it through one time, and I was like, he's crying. Bye. We're done. So it took me longer to put my makeup on than it did to do that. But I love this show.
That one time was incredible. That one time.
Oh, thank you.
Great job.
I love that song. It's a great song. I love every song in the show. So my Wicked story is that it's short. I think I was in high school still, and I saw the show, and so many times, like when I'd seen Lion King and stuff like that, I left feeling so energized and like happy and like just like, oh, it was such a great show and blah blah, all jazzed. And I saw Wicked, and I was like physically ill, like depressed. My stomach was like turning over, and I was just like, I want to be up there so badly, and I don't. And I'm in high school, and I can't. Like, I wasn't one of those kids that like my mom took me to big auditions for anything. So it wasn't like I could even try to do that. So I was just so frustrated. Like, I'm not even trying to get there. And how am I, I can't even, it was just, that was my first experience with theater where it was like, oh, this is what I need to do for sure. I've been inspired by it before. I loved it before, but that was the first time I was like, I can't, there's nothing else I want to do. So that's all for my Wicked story. And then I've probably seen it 5 or 6 times. And my favorite was with Eden Espinosa and now I'm blanking on her name. What is her name? She was on
Megan Hilty.
The TV show. Megan Hilty. Thank you. Her Glinda was spectacular. So if you ever see a pirated recording of her as Glinda, that's the one. She's the one. Anyway, that's all for me. I miss you all.
So glad you joined us for the show tonight.
Yeah.
So I have a first time seeing Wicked story.
Yeah.
It was.
I'm going to take off because I need to shower and go to bed because his first sleep section is the longest one. So, mwah.
Thank you, Dani. Great job tonight.
Thanks. Bye.
Nice work.
Love you.
Congratulations.
Love you.
Thank you.
Good job.
So yeah, the first time I saw it was with a really, really amazing cast. It was tonight.
Right?
I've never actually seen
Hey,
it before
tonight was the best version of Wicked put on at all in the entire world tonight.
definitely.
It was the best version of Wicked put on tonight. I love it.
Yes.
It was a kind of funny thing because Paul goes, "Hey, do you mind singing this song from Wicked?" I'm like, "Sure." I never watched it, but sure, I'm happy to sing whatever you want. And then I look, and it's like a lot of lyrics, man. A whole lot of lyrics.
But you crushed it.
Well, if you watch the video, though, you'll see my eyes kind of glance and glance and glance. I had the lyric sheet right behind the camera. I must have done 20 takes, at least 20 takes of that thing.
And now you have an audition song. So did you just give up before you got a good one? I don't understand.
That's what. Yeah. I have a good 10 minutes of me dropping F-bombs after messing up.
We just met and I'm already.
No, I'm terrible.
Yeah, that's.
I love it.
How many sports injuries did you incur with all that dancing?
A little
I
oxygen.
assumed there was
a little oxygen. The reason my wife was in the room, she had the paddles. So right after.
Clear. All should have been saving like our outtakes and everything, and have a Paulie's outtake show.
That's what I was just gonna say. There needs to be a it needs to be like we can only air it after like 9 or 9:30, where it's like outtakes of us trying to sound good for the skit, and then just cursing and throwing things and talking. Like I know I have 20 minutes of me going, that's it. I should never sing again. This is terrible. I'm horrible. I don't know what
I
I'm even doing. Yes. Like I promise. Like it would be a solid hour of all of us just like self-loathing.
Yeah, there's a solid take of Dancing Through Life where I forget the lyrics and I'm just like, I think I'll just sing Defying Gravity at this part. Because
I think I said, where the F is Frank? Like 15 times in the intro, and then after the intermission.
I came back.
Be my t-shirt.
I came back and I saw that I hadn't hit return. The AFK was still sitting in my little text window, and I was like,
and it's like, okay, let's go to Frank. And there's my desktop. There's no Frank there.
I was like, should I hop on? Should I hop on? Because I know what happens now. Like, should we hop on?
I was about to be like, Amanda, you know.
Yes,
I know the show.
You know the show.
I know how it goes. But then Frank came back.
Well, I'm in the same boat as Darrin, where this was actually my first time going through the show all the way. I've heard a lot of numbers from it, and this is my first time like hearing the story. And the whole time I was like, this is jacked up. This is awful.
Explain
What is this
why.
twisted narrative?
He's upset because he was very upset with Madame Morrible. I didn't like.
And then when Frank was like, and the twister that caused it to land,
it was a twister of fate,
was that she could control the weather.
I mean,
and I was like.
I feel like her character is so likable too. Like when you first meet her, she's like motherly, and it's like, oh, let me take you under your wing, and then just slaps you right across the face.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Let's hear it for Chris Villain, who I texted.
Oh my God.
Dude.
Oh, that was awesome.
What was that, Chris? So
Crazy good.
Bless you all. You're very kind.
I
still have green on my ears, by the way.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say I'm amazed you did all that green to just basically just kind of go.
Stand there and go.
Yeah, it's a Saturday. Why not?
Solid reaction video.
I almost did the green makeup, and I was like, I'll never get it off. No.
Oh no, it's still on. It is still on. My fingers. It is not good look.
I was almost like typing on Amazon, and I went, no. Let's think better of this.
If you've ever been a Green Army Man at Disney, I probably still have it on me somewhere.
Or played Fiona in Shrek. Yes, that is one of the ones where you're literally like, it just will never, it just is with you for like months.
Green with envy at all of you crazy people.
Todd, how did you and I never get green together? Because I've done that show.
I've been green with Frank, and I've been green with Todd.
Yeah.
Okay, so Paulie once again is our connective tissue, so that's good.
Yeah.
Really a better way to say that?
I did some green. I was green many times. It was quite a while ago, but we did a lot. I did a lot of green things. I actually got to go on Jay Leno, being a Green Army Man. That was
What?
No
That's
way.
Cool.
They did this.
Back when were you doing it when Fed Flores was doing it? Back in those
That
days?
name sounds very familiar. Maybe.
Back when it was still, it was still like actual trash bags spray painted green before they
mostly, yeah. It was like a vinyl, the vinyl jacket. Yeah, that was pretty brutal. It was very sweaty.
Yeah, I didn't, you guys know, I only did Green Army Men for a couple special events. I did it for something like environmental thing in California Adventure, and then for the opening of Astro Blasters. So it was when I was working in special events. So I was the Green Army Man sergeant. And my God, those costumes were just horribly hot. I don't know.
Yeah. Costumes are
That was
murder,
when it was the
but
lime
Green Army
green
Man
leather.
Sergeant remains one of my favorite roles ever at the park. I just had so much fun.
You killed it, too.
Special events and the I don't even remember what the little Jeep that we had. We were driving around California. I don't remember what the show was called, but
I remember that.
Operation Playtime. Come on.
Yeah,
that was my bread and butter.
Yeah, no. I
Paul's
mean,
doing.
I mean, but steering it back onto the Wicked train. So my Wicked story is I saw it once at the Pantages with my lovely wife before we had kids, and like when I left the theater, I was just like, what stuck with me and what I was blown away by was how the writers, and it could have gone back to the novel, and I didn't read the books and stuff, but how you make, and I talked about this on the podcast on Monday night or Tuesday night, but how the writers made the most iconic villain in like history, the Wicked Witch, pure evil, the symbol of evil, how like the entire show you're pulling for her. And at the end, you're heartbroken for her, and you're sick to your stomach at what happened to her. I was just like blown away by, as a writer, like how do you make that happen for your villain? Because as you know, like in any play or movie or whatever, the villain is the hero of his own movie. But like for this, like with the music and the relationships and like from start to finish, I was just like it was a gut wrenching pain almost at like what happened to Elphaba. And that's what struck me the only time I saw it on stage, really. But the music is just so fantastic.
But what a
The
gift.
other thing too is how they incorporated the Wizard of Oz story in it, kind of a backstory to bring it forward. It was just well done.
I love when they do the shadows in the
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, there's so many movies that are like the ultimate classic movie of all time, and it's like you can never remake Gone with the Wind. Like you could never do it again. And Wizard of Oz was always those ones. It was just like, everybody's like, we're gonna do a remake, and you're like, really? Oh, it's like you're gonna ruin it. But after seeing this story, I always thought if they ever did make an attempt at doing this, it would be cool to blend these two together and do like a 2-film arc, and then do them just kind of stepping over top of each other. I don't know how you would do that. I'm not a writer, but
the only thing that's tough is the difference in the styles of music and how to.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's obviously, you'd have to tweak it all, but I just thought that would be a really cool arc to kind of blend all the way through.
Isn't there a Wicked film happening or going to happen?
Is there?
I was going to say there's a Wicked film that I think has been in production for a while, or in development at least. Yeah.
They're still casting. And with COVID, it's not. I mean, it's on hold, but yeah, it's in the works.
When I saw Wicked,
Well,
I saw
IMDb
Wicked for the
is
first
showing
time.
Wicked is coming out in 2021, December.
I'm still on
we'll see.
Amanda Benjamin.
No, I was just saying, I saw Wicked. My story is very similar to Dani's, but it was in San Francisco because I lived in Northern California. So it was at the Orpheum. And I actually ended up getting to see Eden Espinosa because it was supposed to be Stephanie J. Block, but she had an injury. So I saw Eden Espinosa, and she was just amazing. And I also got to see Carol Kane as Madame Morrible, which was awesome. And I don't know how many of you guys saw Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but also the girl who played Libby, the cheerleader, was Nessa Rose. That's Jenna Leigh Green. So just like such a really cool cast of characters. And back then, you know, I was younger, so I wasn't keeping up on who's who, and I was just like, oh, these people are great. But the most amazing thing to me, that moment that I was like, this is something else. This is where, you know, this solidifies everything that I want to be, was just, you know, the moment that she rises up in defying gravity. It was like you look up and you're like, oh, yes, like I need to do this someday. Somehow.
This is one of the few Broadway shows I wish I had seen live. I've never seen it live on stage, and
so cool.
I wish I could have seen it with Stephanie J. Block, because I was in a show. I was in a show with her at Disney. She was in the Beauty and the Beast show at Disney, and I was in the show with her. So I've known her for a year. We still Like every once in a while, I'll get a message. Well, I'll message her. I messaged her right after she won the Tony for the Cher show, and that was kind of fun. So
she and I were in a parade together.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Awesome.
I think she was still at what's the performing arts high school in Orange County? I'm blanking.
OSHA.
Oh,
yeah. It was still at OSHA then, which tells you how far back that goes. So yeah, which probably shouldn't have led with that. Sorry, Stephanie.
And now OSHA, that performing arts high school, is in charge of the health and safety of every company in Orange County. OSHA.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm joking.
Yeah, she was I wish there was like recorded versions of all of them, each one of them doing the show live. You could watch the whole thing.
They have little like compilations online. Like if you look up,
I've watched one. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen one where they all do the in sequence?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
and
And all
like
the different languages.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's cool. That one's really cool. Yeah, but everybody's had the kind of their own little take on it, right?
Yeah. I could only find one. Sorry, I was just going to say I could only find one like fully stitched together show, start to finish, and it just keeps jumping back and forth in cast from different people to different people. But it's all there. It was pretty cool.
Steph, I feel like you have a Wicked story.
I do. I have a fun Wicked story. It's like a memory that, like, I think whenever you see Wicked live, no matter if it's like a tour or you saw it on Broadway or whatever, like there's some moment of it that's like burned in your heart forever. And like this for me, like I'll just never forget. I mean, I think I was telling our friends, I was maybe 21 years old and we were in New York. I was there with a group and I was desperate to see Wicked. I just wanted to, because I was such a big fan of Kristen Chenoweth. And of course I wanted to see Idina Menzel and Norbert Leo Butz because I was a fan of his for the last 5 years, and I was desperate to see it, and I didn't have any money, so I entered the lottery, and all the names were called except for one person only needed one ticket, and so there was randomly one ticket left. And I got it. I was praying. They called my name, and I was like, oh my God. So I took my little self to the theater, and then they announced at the last second, Idina Menzel is not available. She's called out, and Eden Espinosa is going on, which happened quite a bit to Eden, and she's just an angel and was always ready. And so she went on, and you could tell the entire cast was so thrilled and so excited to have her on. It felt like this 2.5 hour party. Like the energy radiating off the stage was just like electric. They were all just so excited to be doing their jobs that night with fun people, and like it was such an incredible night of theater, so much so that they were kind of like having inside jokes on the stage. And we were talking earlier about how, like, when you go see a show and like you can tell they're having so much fun at their job that night, and all you want it to do is to never end. Like you just want to be there forever because it's so fun. So that's what it was. And like, yeah, they were kind of like, they were, having moments and like, letting moments linger a little bit. The audience was like responsive and kind of vocal back with them. It was great. It was packed. I mean, the Gershwin was packed. And then towards the end of the show, Fiero's character swings on stage on a rope. If you haven't seen it live, it's when they're gonna arrest Elphaba, and he comes on and he holds Glinda hostage so that Elphaba can escape. And he swings on stage on a rope, and he's meant to like land on his 2 feet. And his line is, "Let the green girl go." So instead, Norbert Leopold's Tarzan swings onto the stage, and instead of landing like the hero that he is, he wiped out so hard, like Charlie Brown with the football, like just ate it, like nothing could have saved the moment. And the entire cast lost their mind. The ensemble, everybody is heads down, shoulders going, like turning away from the audience. Like everyone has lost it. They're laughing so hard. And the audience in turn then loses it. Everybody, these 3,000 people are cracking up at Norbert Leo Butz just wiping out. And then he picks himself up off the floor and he goes, "Let the green girl go." Like, cause he's like broken a hip at this point. And everybody's dying laughing, and it's great. And then so like they're all laughing, and then For Good is like shortly after that in the show, and like Kristen Chenoweth has been laughing so hard she's wiping her eyes, she's cry laughing. But then, everybody's emotions were so readily available. Then during For Good, Eden is it was just this beautiful, really honest moment between Kristen Chenoweth and Eden Espinosa. So much so that Eden had tears, and then Kristen was crying so much that her eyelashes were coming off. And halfway through the song For Good, she's singing, she goes, ah! And she rips her eyelashes off on stage and throws them on the floor in the middle of For Good. Like in the middle of the song, just rips her eyelashes off and throws them on the floor. And the audience is crying, like snot crying. There's slobber, like everybody's ugly crying. It's just a moment in theater that you just will never forget. And so, of course, being the child that I was and wanting to meet my idol and Kristen Chenoweth and tell her how wonderful I thought she was and whatever. So I waited at the stage door, and I'll never forget her coming out and like being so kind to take a moment to chat with me. And I was like, I just think you're wonderful and you're working this, blah, blah, blah. And just the way that you just ripped your eyelashes off on stage. You just went with it. And she's like, and I'll never forget her saying to me, she's like, well, you know what, honey? I mean, things happen on stage just like life. You just, whatever happens, you just got to use it. Honey, you just got to use it. And I'll never forget Kristen Chenoweth. Like literally there are moments when I'm on stage and maybe like things are crazy in my life or whatever we're doing. And I hear Kristen Chenoweth in my mind go, you just got to use it, honey. And I do. I just use it to fuel my performance. So anyway, that's my Wicked story. I've been called back for Glinda multiple times, and that's fun that I was on the list whatever for that, and that door never fully opened to me, but like that the story goes on. I mean, who's to say what's gonna happen?
Yeah, it has.
Yeah,
it really should have, and it did tonight.
Well, we'll see what happens. They will not see me for Elphaba. Just will not. My agent has tried. He's like, but she belts, and they're like, we don't care. So but I don't know. Maybe that will. Who knows? I mean, 2020 has been a crazy year. Maybe Bernie Telsey, if you're watching, I'll come in for anything.
Next time you do it, you have to use your Kristen Chenoweth voice.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, when you do the thing, you're doing the song, and you're just talking like this, and you just got to do all the dialogue.
It's so good.
I'm waiting for that to come up in one of the variety shows where we're doing like Party Quirks or something, and you get Kristen Chenoweth.
I can do a solid Kristen Chenoweth.
Yeah.
That was a foreshadow just now. If anybody else didn't catch that was a foreshadow right there.
Tune in next week.
I don't care what character I get in Party Guest. I'm always going to be Eeyore. I don't. Not in a one-up way, but in a. I empathize with that. I love when you get those little nuggets that you can just hold on to from people you really admire, and you reminded me so much of the time at Michael's 55th between 5th and 6th. It was a little corporate watering hole, and I met Lea Salonga, and this was right in the middle of
Saigon.
Probably, yeah. Thank you. I was gonna say it's the same mechanism that lifts
the
it's
flying carpet.
Whatever. It was right in the middle. It was right in the middle. Yeah. Ever since Saigon, everything's got things on cranes now. But yeah, I was right in the middle of Saigon, and I couldn't believe I am talking to Lea Salonga, and I will never forget what she said to me. And at the time, I'm this young, aspiring. Get a room. I'm this young. Aspiring.
We have kids all day. We never get to kiss.
Oh, okay. Well, then, just what you want. We'll make more. Anyway, I'm right there. I mean, not quite nose to nose, but close enough with Lea Salonga as the young, aspiring musical theater guy, as I was in those days. And she looked right at me and she said, "I'll have the sea bass."
Wow!
Did she tell you about her peanut allergy, or was that just me?
You have a Lea Salonga story?
Are you saying there's a reason she would have told me that she had a peanut allergy?
That was an incredible buildup. That really was. I was so invested. I was like, yeah, and
I know. I was like, if there's one
what nugget of wisdom did she give you?
I was like, what inspiration do you hold on to this day?
That was for Chris.
Frank hears sea bass. I hear use it, honey. I mean, whatever. You just make it. You make it.
Sometimes you
have bass right now.
Use a sea bass. Kick his ass, sea bass.
for a lot of us who worked at Disney in the parks, like atmospheric, like done things atmospherically. Not just like I dreamed of doing shows on stages. Like I only got to do a couple of shows on stages in the Disney parks. Most of my shows were on the streets or just roaming. But like you really got a sense of who performers were or who like big names were when they came through and they saw you doing the thing. I'm sure all of us could like tell a million stories about performers coming through with their group of plaids, watching a show or seeing you in a moment. But one for me that definitely stuck out was like the first summer of the Pirates, the Atmosphere Pirates. Faruko was out on the street with the Bootstrappers singing sea shanties, and Kristen Chenoweth came in. It was just her and one plaid, and she and Faruko had just like the most amazing like 20 minutes. Like it was just like I had no idea who she was at the time, but she was just up to play, and she like danced and sang and laughed and was just so just regular person in the middle of like Disneyland, just having fun with Disney performers. And
I would pay so much money to see footage of that. I wish that existed.
Somebody's got to have it on camera at in some point of the earth, but like I'm sure all of us have stories about like different celebrities coming in the parks, and some are just super cool and so supportive and just into and ego aside.
Yeah, she's the real deal, man.
And others are just like, I'm cool, you're not. But she was definitely one that was always like Faruko, like
Halo. Just want to say thank you to our buddy Scott Gilbert for blowing up the super chat.
Yeah.
It's really nice of you, man. Thank you.
I don't have it pulled up anymore. I left my iPad out there. Thank you.
YouTubing
Gilbert.
Disneyland Pirates, so I'm not finding anything.
He's trying to find the Kristen Chenoweth video with you right now.
So Steph, it might actually pain you to know that I had weekly conversations with her.
What? Why? How?
Yeah, but not in a way that you would think. My wife's actually laughing at me on the other side. I used to work at New York sports clubs on 80th and Broadway. And the person that came in. And so my weekly conversations were towel. Just like, I'll have the sea bass. You want a towel?
And I'm sure he's like, why, yes, I love a towel. Thank you, honey.
Totally counts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How kind of you. That's so nice. Thank you. I'll take a towel.
Well, and I had
close encounters like that at Disney. No, sorry, go ahead. Sorry,
I was just gonna say I had the same sort of like starstruck moment, which I don't typically do growing up in theater and TV and all of that, but I did at New York sports clubs when a gentleman walks in, and I immediately knew who he was. Immediately just was like, I don't know what to say anymore. And it was Terrence Mann.
Oh my gosh.
Right, and he walked in and he goes, I'm here to see so and so from the.
If you guys don't know who Terrence Mann is, he is
he's
the original Beast. If you listen to the original Broadway cast recording of Beauty and the Beast, you'll be dumbfounded just by the recording. He's a legend.
List, right? Les Mis.
Yes. Right? Oh my gosh, his Javert. I mean, forget it. He's a legend. So anyway, if you don't know, that's Terrence Mann.
And so he's like, and just let her know I'm Terry Mann, and I'm like. I know who you are. I love you.
Just casually, Terry.
Yeah, but that again, for the young aspiring performers, if you're in New York, work at a sports club in the Upper West Side. You will meet all of them.
You never know where it can go.
They're all anywhere on the Upper West Side.
Yeah.
Yes. When I was there doing Beautiful, I got to stay in someone who I consider to be my sister. And she was doing a project elsewhere. Kristen Hangy, her apartment is up on the Upper West Side, and so I like sublet that from her. And it was interesting because the Upper West Side really is like a different New York, isn't it? It's very much like, it's great. It was awesome, but it's not. It is funny when you go different areas in New York, like the people you find. But
I lived 79th and Amsterdam.
Yeah.
77th in Amsterdam.
86.
So,
yeah.
You're walking around and you literally run into people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. My wife ran into Bernadette Peters.
Wow.
And,
wow.
And it was like, oh, hey, I love you. And your hair looks great. Those kinds of moments are all the time in that area. which is great. That's one of the wonderful things about New York.
Ah, New York.
Nothing like that ever happened to me when I was there. I lived in Washington Heights, and it was noisy and loud, and I never slept, and that was my experience.
Where up were you? What street were you?
I think I was on 62nd and like 8th. It was like right on the water. It was nice. It was just so loud and like crazy. I wish I had a nice story to tell about New York. But
high enough up to be Washington Heights, 62nd?
I was like, you probably were 162.
You're not getting a nose.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. 162. 162. 162.
I was like, 162 is the Heights. Like that's
you know
like,
what happened?
It's like Brooklyn, Harlem, the Heights. Like
yes. You know what happened? I just blacked all of that out of my memory when I didn't sleep. So that's why I blocked out the 1 because I wasn't remembering to sleep. So 162nd is what I meant.
In your mind, you were bougie at 60.
Yeah, you know. I was trying to live out that moment just now.
Listen, I'd be like trucking it back up to 86th, and I'd be like, I'm never gonna live past 90th Street ever. This is a nightmare.
Were you on West 86th, Steph?
86 in Amsterdam, yeah. And when the show gets out and it's midnight, and you're like, and I have 2 children who wake up every morning. The kids were like 2 and 3 at that point, and they wake up at like 5:30 in the morning every morning. So I'd be like walking from the Sondheim because the trains would be closed or like construction or whatever. And so and I didn't want to pay for a cab because poor. And I'd be like walking up to 86th Street being like, this is insane. I'm going to live in Hell's Kitchen next time I live here. Like, it's just, when
I'll tell
you
you though, but I was on West 80. My first place in New York was on West 86th, and my second to last place was on West 49th before that neighborhood became nice, which I'm told it is. I haven't been back since 01, so I don't know. But
nice.
West 86th, not so bad, in hindsight. But I will say, I once moved the entirety of my possessions in a laundry cart from West 71st between West End and the Dead End down to the place I was moving into on West 49th.
Oh my gosh!
Where's my musical?
I know you need it. You need to basically like Hooking It through New York, the Frank Romeo story.
Rolling down the alley is your big number.
I got to show Alex New York, so he had never been, and we went. I had a gig there, and so he flew out. And we spent a couple days there, and it was like, 1 degree?
I was like, this is cold as balls.
And so, but we walked from like, he wanted to see the Flatiron Building. We walked from like 72 all the way down to Battery Park so he could like see New York.
Yeah.
Wow.
We did the whole.
He did it.
Yeah, we did all of that.
It was great.
We did that on our last visit. I think my Fitbit said it was something like 15 miles that day.
Woof.
Yeah, it was.
It's easy to do. If you want to be thin without trying, move to New York.
Yeah.
A lot of walking.
Walk everywhere.
But I swear to God, because it's funny, because all these movies, they see the cab driver pull up to a light and some guy gets out and he's like, hey, I'm walking here. And the guy's like, screw you, get out of my way. And then we're literally walking.
Because the
Why are
cabbie
the Irish doing?
There's a lot of Irish people
they were
there,
Australian.
as well as Italian.
You're not wrong.
So, no, and I was walking, and we're walking like from a bakery or something that we stopped in, and some cab driver pulls up to the crosswalk, and some guy gets out of the car behind him and starts screaming at him, and he gets out of the car and starts yelling at him, and I'm like, this is like.
It's real.
The stars in his eyes. He was like, it's all real.
Oh my gosh. This place is insane.
Yeah.
All right. Snowing? Did you see snow?
Yes, it did start snowing.
It did. It was snowing.
I have a theory that that's like the people on Hollywood Boulevard who dress up as like superheroes and stuff.
Love
like,
that.
okay, so today I'm the guy getting out of the cab.
What if they're like all secretly FBI agents and they just play the thing over and over again and they're all just keeping watch on us.
All right. So we
Staff wants to say hello to everybody.
started this chat.
I'm joined by my narrator in training.
I think Frank, we have the cast right here for Frank's musical.
Yes.
New York Story musical. I think it's going to be amazing.
Yes.
Frank, it's so funny you said the laundry cart. Didn't we do that for everything? Wasn't like groceries, bring the laundry cart.
No, you had to. No. I mean, if you had anything, I mean, my place on West 86th, West 71st was sorry. I had to like picture it. It's the picture of it was there. My place on West 71st was a 4th floor walk up.
Yep.
If you had anything that took more than one trip, it was gone by the time you got downstairs.
Forget it.
Yeah, you never got more than
it.
a look at butter and a stick of butter.
And no matter what, you hit every crack on the way to and from.
Oh yeah, the grocery bag ripped, all of that.
You guys, I had a double stroller. I had the double where it's like the 2 seats in front and back, so it's like an effing limousine. Trying to get that up and down subway stairs, and nobody cared.
No way,
In New
no.
York, no one, not a single person tried to help me. So I have the children by both of their wrists in one hand. I have one wrist in one hand, one wrist in this finger, and I have both of them, and they're like this. Going up the subway, and I'm trying to schlep this double stroller, and I was like, never again with a stroller. I'm like, they will be in school and they will be walking and able to defend themselves the next time I come back to this town.
I can't even imagine. It was so many chapters of my life ago that I was there. I mean, I'm not kidding when I said I haven't been back since fall of '01, and there's a reason I split. But I can't imagine having the life that I had in Manhattan with kids in tow. I mean, kudos to you. There's no way with this munchkin who's rearranging. What do I split? Okay, hold on. Something very important is happening here.
Yeah, I wish I could say I was able to even take care of myself while I was there, but that was not the case, and I don't think I could have taken care of another living being. So
I took care of them. I don't know about myself, but I definitely took care of them.
there you go, Mom of the Year, Mom of the Year.
I somehow made a show happen.
But my favorite part about New York, without question, I know Paul's like, let's get back on topic. I'm sorry, but one thing I've never gotten talked about New York.
You go.
I love the fact that you can jaywalk. That's not, because I don't think that's a real thing. I think that's insane that little people here, that people get ticketed with little jaywalking tickets. That sounds crazy to me. If there are no cars, cross the street. If you get hit, it's your fault.
Well, that's because the cars can never go fast enough to kill you in New York.
And it's also because it's a proven revenue stream, which is
you gotta look. I've seen people dodge cars while I was there, like parkour athletes.
I got hit.
Road
Guilty.
And traffic lights are merely suggestions.
Yeah, exactly.
You get in a fight, man. You get in a fight if you hold up the line getting out in the street.
You do.
Go. What's
walk. Yeah.
I love the spirit of that. I love it.
There's other countries where they do it, but I remember my mind being completely blown in Melbourne. Incredible, like 8 lanes of street, and people are walking out to the middle because half of it was clear, standing on the line, not an island or a nothing, just literally they're standing on paint. Cars go waiting for the other half. I'm like, no, I mean, no. I don't know if they still do that. I don't know. That was.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Paulie's picnic, jaywalk, after talk.
All right. So we jumped on to talk about our Wicked experiences. We had a couple.
So all these experiences.
Squirrel. I want to thank Scott Gilbert and to Matthew King who blew up the super chat here. Thank you guys.
Scott Gilbert. Thank you, sir.
For the Wicked show tonight. And hey, next week we're gonna do Nirvana.
Seriously?
Nirvana Saturday night. Yeah, Nirvana. And then the week after is Wendy Walker's family's show. And then the week after that, we're doing a Christmas show, including Sparks the Flame and a live table read of the third and final of that trilogy. So that's what's gonna happen here. Thank you guys so much. I love you all.
Hey, wait a minute. I didn't get to retell my story.
God bless. Go ahead.
For like the 31 people who are watching who will actually relate to my story, maybe I should tell my story.
There's 31 people watching us?
There are indeed 31 people watching right now.
If I'd have known that, it would have been more entertaining.
31 households. Thank you very much. Tina wanted to go to New York for her 40th birthday, so we went up there in January of 2016. And it was a great time. We were there for 48 hours, and then we went to Italy. But when we were in New York, we wanted to see as many Broadway plays as possible. So I actually texted the only 2 people that I knew who loved Broadway. I didn't have Jamie's number at the time, so I texted Dani and Steph, and I said, well, what should we see in Broadway? And Dani, of course, said, well, get tickets to Hamilton if you can afford the $700 seats, which is exactly what Hamilton was costing back then. And Stephanie said, well, if you're going to see one show, go see Wicked for sure. So we saw a couple things, but we saw Wicked at the Gershwin, and this was in 2016. So we had Kara Lindsay was Glinda, and Rachel Tucker was the Elphaba, and they're both fantastic. It was a great show.
Kara's
and I like musicals. My favorite is Cats, so that's how much I know about musicals. But when I was there and we were watching the show, after Defying Gravity at the first act into intermission, I was blubbering. Defying Gravity just killed me. It broke me. And part of it was the amazing performance on the stage, but the other part was, you know, going to tea and seeing all these amazing people every single week, and now here tonight seeing dozens of amazing, top-notch, wonderful, talented people. It struck me as I was watching that performance, that could easily be Jamie, and it would be better. That would be Stephanie, and that would be better. That could be Dani, that would be better. And it just made me cry, because to know people who can perform at that level and to be able to call them your friends and to be able to hang out with them once a week on Saturdays and see the amazing talent, and then to actually produce the show tonight and see dozens of people who could easily be on Broadway doing this better than the people who were doing it for me back in 2016. It hit a chord that I will never forget for the rest of my life. So I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you who performed tonight. Another of hundreds of life-changing experiences happened this evening. Thank you very much for sharing your talent with the world. It's incredible.
Yeah, we're gonna cry.
And cheers to that.
Very kind of
That is a perfect note to end on. Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you for all of your work on the show. That whole show ran smoothly.
Hold on, Dylan wanted to say something.
I just want to touch on something Stephanie said, how you feel the energy of a live performance, or when you can tell that the cast is having like a really great time in a live show. Can you imagine when we're able to do live shows again?
I can't wait.
All of us get together and do this live.
That'd be nuts.
I've talked about it in previous shows, and people have said in the chat, I will buy a plane ticket and fly to California.
We're gonna need a theater, Paul. We're gonna need a legit theater to do this live show.
With the television and
picnic style.
they're playing, and I'm like, yes, yeah. I'm like screaming and standing up at the television, like it's freaking awesome.
When we get to be together and like
enough shoes to throw.
Just
I
put
know
this
that
booth stage
High
left
Street
of whatever
rents out
place.
their theater. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, and I've talked to High Street about like I want to do a fundraiser for High Street, but like I've said, I want it's gonna be like a 3 or 4 hour party, and then like a 3 or 4 hour show, and like a 2 hour after party.
Yeah,
that's gonna be the next
We're
show.
just gonna block
just
out
gotta
24
put it
hours,
far enough in the
solid
future that it
8-hour
isn't
thing.
super
Yeah.
spread
Oh no,
around.
24. Just we'll sleep there.
Oh, I'm tying a good one on for sure on that night. I'll tell you that. No Japanese whiskey.
Everybody give me
That's the
your
only
keys.
rule.
I'll make sure everybody gets home fine.
Ballroom of a hotel where everyone can just go up.
We'll
and
just
grab.
book out a
Party
block of
brought to you
rooms.
by Uber. Uber for all your parties.
DoubleTree on this street where everyone will be sleeping. Yes.
Well, we love you guys so much. Thank you, everybody who's been a part of everything this show has ever done. And if nobody has any plans on New Year's Eve, we got some plans for you. I'm just gonna play you.
What are we doing?
Have the day off.
What a tease.
Put it on your calendar.
I mean, like, yeah, get ready to watch some entertainment New Year's Eve and count down to midnight.
Brace yourselves. This is the one year that I don't get to be in Vegas, and normally we're in Vegas at the Bellagio doing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no Infinity this year.
Not
Braggity
happening, Paul,
brag,
right? Vegas is not doing anything. So I mean,
Listen, it's like a sad brag. It's like a we used to have money brag.
No, I hear you, but yeah, there's no shame in your game. I'm not. It's like I say, all of my smack talk comes from a place of love. I'm never gonna get down on anybody for taking a gig.
we're poor, but we're having a great time working hard
There you
and
go.
doing things on the interwebs. It's gonna be.
The check.
Thank you, Paul, for
and-
putting this together for us so that we can do that.
That's right, Paul. Let's give it up to Paul Carganilla, ladies and gentlemen.
Love you, Paul.
You guys, it's all because of you. We'll see you soon. Good night.
Bye.
Okay, well, see, that's what happens when I give Paul the button to end the meeting, because then that's just what he does. It just ends. There's no outro. There's no title card. There's no fade out. There's just meeting ended by host. Good night, everybody.